Good morning, students. This is session 3 of 8th Standard Social Science, History, Unit 2, From Trade to Territory. In previous class, we discussed about Anglo-Mysore and Anglo-Maratha wars. Anglo-Mysore wars, which was fought between the time period of 1767 to 1799, and then the Anglo-Maratha Wars. The first Anglo-Maratha War from 1775 to 1782. Second Anglo-Maratha War from 1803 to 1805. And then the third Anglo-Maratha War from 1817 to 1818. Now we are going to discuss about the British administrative organization in India. The British administrative organization in India. The British Indian administration was run by four principal institutions. They are civil services, army, police, and judiciary. First one, civil services. The term civil service was used for the first time by the East India Company to distinguish its civilian employees from their military equivalent. Translating law into action and collecting revenue were the main job of the civil service. The civil service was initially commercial in nature, but later it was transformed into a public service. Do you know Satyendranath Tagore, the elder brother of the poet Rabindranath Tagore, was the first Indian to pass the Indian Civil Service examination in 1863. Satyendranath Tagore, the elder brother of poet Rabindranath Tagore, was the first Indian to pass the Indian Civil Service examination in 1863. Next, Army. The Army was the second important pillar of the British administration in India. The East India Company started recruiting its own army, which came to be known as the Sepoy Army. That Sepoy Army was trained and disciplined according to European military standards and was commanded by European officers in the battlefield. During the early stage of British rule, three separate armies had been organized in three presidencies of Bengal, Bombay, and Madras. Army had a great contribution in the establishment and expansion of British rule in India. Indian soldiers were given less salaries and allowances than English soldiers. Who got less salaries? Indian soldiers. In 1857, the Indian constituted about 86% of the total strength of the company's army. However, the officers of the army were exclusively British. For example, in 1856, only 3 Indians in the army received a salary of Rs 300 per month. The highest rank an Indian would ever reach was that of a Subedar. After the revolt of 1857, The important changes were made in the Indian Army services in 1858. They increased British troops and reduced Indian troops. Also, only English were appointed and artillery. Next, police. When the East India Company took over the Diwani in 1765, the Mughal police system was under the control of Faujdars, who were in charge of their sargars, that is our rural districts. Okay, and then the police system was created by Lord Cornwallis. Who created police system? Lord Cornwallis. He relieved the zamindars from police functions and established a regular police force in 1791. Cornwallis established a system of circles or danas, each headed by Taroga. Next, judicial system. In 1772, the dual government was abolished and the company took over the direct responsibility for the collection of revenue as well as the administration of justice. On the model of the Supreme Court of Calcutta, a Supreme Court was established in Madras in 1801 and in Bombay in 1823. In 1832, William Bentinck started jury system in Bengal. An Indian Law Commission was established to compile the laws. A rule of law was established for the whole empire. According to the Indian High Court Act 1861, 3 high courts were set up in Calcutta, Bombay and Madras in place of the old Supreme Courts. Sir Elisha Imbe was the first Chief Justice of the Supreme Court at Fort William in Bengal. Sir Thiruvarur Muthuswamy was the first Indian Chief Justice of the Madras High Court. Do you know? Sir Elisha Imbe was the first Chief Justice of the Supreme Court at Fort William in Bengal, and Sir Thiruvarur Muthuswamy was the first Indian Chief Justice of the Madras High Court. Then the subsidiary alliance. The Lord Wellesley introduced the system of subsidiary alliance to bring the princely states under the control of the British. The princely state was called the protected state, and the British came to be referred as the paramount power. It was the duty of the British to safeguard the state from external aggression and to help its ruler in maintaining internal peace. And then, doctrine of lapse. Lord Dalhousie was one of the chief architects of the young British Empire in India. He was an imperialist. That means in Tamil, Ekadhipatyam. He adopted a new policy. Who adopted a new policy? Lord Dalhousie adopted a new policy known as Doctrine of Lapse to extend British Empire. He made use of this model and declared in 1848 that if the native rulers adopted children without the prior permission of the company, only the personal properties of the rulers would go to the adopted sons, and the kingdoms would go to the British paramount power. That means paramount means supreme power. This principle was called the doctrine of lapse. It was bitterly opposed by the Indians, and it was one of the root causes for the Great Revolt of 1857. By applying the doctrine of lapse policy, Dalhousie annexed Sadara in 1848, Jaipur and Jambalpur in 1849, Baghat in 1850, Udaipur in 1852, Jhansi in 1853 and Nagpur in 1854. And then the factors for the success of the British. Greater naval power, that is all of the nations warships. Second one, development of textile. And third one, scientific division of labor. Fourth, economic prosperity and skillful diplomacy of the British. And fifth one, feelings of insecurity among the Indian merchants. And then the last one, the inequality and ignorance of the Indian kings. That is, no cooperation among the Indian kings. These are the factors for the success of the British. Conclusion. The Patala Plaza was the foundation of British dominion in India. The company's administration was not for the interest of people. It was imperialistic, expansionist, and exploitative. It brought more Indian territories under British domain through subsidiary alliance and the doctrine of lapse. This policy led to a South Indian rebellion and Vellore rebellion and the Great Rebellion. Okay students, shall we recall now? Cornwallis established a system of circles or danas. Each was headed by a taroga. And then Sir Elisha Embe was the first Chief Justice of the Supreme Court at Fort William in Bengal. And then Lord Wellesley introduced the system of subsidiary alliance to bring the princely states under the control of British. The last one, Lord Dalhousie, was one of the chief architects of the British Empire in India. He adopted the new policy was known as Doctrine of Lapse to extend British Empire. Okay students, thank you.